Hey there everyone, welcome back to the never-ending Q&A where I answer your questions forever and ever. If you got any more questions, put them below. Otherwise, this might actually not go on forever and ever. But anyway, we're gonna hop back into this. This is part 17, maybe, I don't know. But we're gonna hop into this. So first, we've got a question from Raiden2421, who is asking, how often do you or did you, I guess there's a word missing there, add on to your collection? For example, like 2 games a month or anything like that. I still, it's not like I don't buy games still. I still do. I just don't make videos about it. If I move, oh, maybe not. I was gonna say there's a stack of games behind me that's new, but you can't see it. It's not in the shot. It's like slightly to the slightly off camera. Like if you could just follow my finger, it's right about there. You can't see it, but there is a stack of games that I haven't played yet that I bought. But it depends generally on just like what I'm into at the moment. So, right now I'm just playing Persona 5. So like I don't have any need to buy any new games. Like I don't feel like I need to buy anything. I'm just busy with that. But generally if I have nothing to play, it depends on what I'm interested in at the moment. So, previously, I mean, that stack of games, I can look at it, and it's mostly simulations. Um, there's a truckload of simulations I bought recently because I was just like really into playing simulations again for some reason. So I got a bunch, and I have a huge stack of them over there of just like weird simulation games that nobody wants to play. Like, um, I'm thinking about it. There's like 2 different pachinko simulations, and not like pachinko machine simulations, but like pachinko parlor simulations. And one is like running one single shop. It's like a shop simulator, and then the other one is like a pachinko empire simulator where you're opening like pachinko stores throughout the yeah town country. I don't know. Then I have like you know one of the previous Neo Atlas games. Um, it's like a, I don't know, Age of Discovery map making simulator. It's kind of a little wacky though. If that gives you like an idea of the kind of stuff I've been playing. But I don't know. It's not a set amount though. So, if I found a bunch of stuff that I was really interested in, then I just pick it all up at once and then like work my way through it. But if I have something I'm playing, then if like a new game is coming out, then that I've pre-ordered or something, I'm gonna play it right away when it comes out. So for the most part, I don't buy any games at that point, just so I can, you know, unless there's like a sale or something, like then I'll go nuts. But like, otherwise, I don't have a reason to buy anything until until I finish what I'm playing. So I don't know. It's not usually a huge amount all at once, and it's not usually on any type of schedule. Some games, like sometimes you buy games and you finish them quick. I I've gone out and bought games where I'm just like, oh well, I finished that in 2 days. It's like now I got to go buy something else. And then sometimes I get a game and I'm like, well, I got nothing. I don't need any more games for the next month. Um, and that's kind of how it is. So it's just erratic. Let's see. Next question. Have you played the Dark Cloud games, and what did you enjoy or dislike about the games? And would you enjoy another game in the franchise? I've never played a Dark Cloud game. Um, I hear they're okay. Level 5 made those, maybe, right? Dark Cloud. But I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. It's not the kind of thing that I've like had any interest in playing. So it could be great, but I have no idea. If it's made by level 5, it's probably likely that I'm not gonna like it, which seems strange because I know people really like level 5. I just don't. Nothing they've made I've never had any connection with. Like I've played a couple of their games and I feel like, I don't really like these, and that's that's basically how I feel about them. They don't connect with me. Um, and it's weird because I know they're like huge sellers. They connect with a lot of people, just not me. So, it's not like a quality issue. It's just like a taste issue, I think, of why I don't really like level 5. But that might be totally a non sequitur if Dark Cloud is not made by them. I just don't remember. So I sort of answered the question. So next we've got, I guess, EdX or EDX, Andre Drexis. Okay, lots of Andrexis. I'll say that. That's what it's spelled like. Um, so he asked, do you like the Neo Geo, and do you have a favorite game or series on it? Um, I like the Neo Geo, but it's the kind of thing where like I've never. Okay, I'm not gonna say never, because when I lived in the U.S., I bought a bunch of arcade carts and I had a machine briefly. Um, but when I moved, I couldn't keep that stuff, so like I stopped with the Neo Geo because those carts are big, and you have to have a. Yeah, I guess you could get an AES, but I mean the home system MVS AES. I don't remember which one is which. Um, but I was doing arcade carts because I wanted an actual stand up machine at my house. But when I decided like, and this is like before I moved. This was like years before I moved because I had studied abroad, and during that time I had to store stuff too. And I was just like, well, I can't have this stuff. So like I had to not. I had to stop collecting stuff for the Neo Geo, and I just never went back to it. But it wasn't because the Neo Geo is bad or anything, but it's just too big, and I can't do it now because now it's too expensive. But when I was collecting, it wasn't that expensive. I mean, I was getting cards for like arcade carts for like $10 to $15, and like the most expensive ones were like 50 or 60. Like you weren't. Well, I mean, I guess that's not true. The most expensive ones were still expensive, but like for the ones that are like relatively expensive now, they were not expensive. Stuff like Garo and stuff like that was always expensive. But like, if you were just like, oh yeah, I want to get me some King of Fighters cards, and like, I was always a fan. There's a couple of games that I really love on the Neo Geo, but like nostalgically love because I played them so much in the arcade. And that one is Magician Lord, which is on like every Neo Geo collection ever. So like I have that. I have Neo Geo collections that I mostly, for the most part, and then like, um, and they pretty much cover like what I'm interested in on Neo Geo anyway. But I really like Magician Lord. There's another game called Eight Man, which is not that long of a game. It's a pretty short game. Um, that I'm a big fan of. Of course, like most of the stuff I played on Neo Geo though was fighters, and not even really good fighters. Like probably my most played Neo Geo game is World Heroes 2, and only because it was like at our local convenience store, so we always played it. World Heroes was also there briefly, and like Art of Fighting also. I played a ton of that. King of Fighters I played bunch of, but probably World Heroes 2 is my most played Neo Geo game. And I have that not on the Neo Geo. I have it on the Sega Saturn. But it's the kind of thing where like most of the stuff I want on the Neo Geo is just not, just either available elsewhere or just on a collection. So I feel like I don't really need to collect for the Neo Geo. There's not like a huge amount of things that I feel like I need on it. But do I like it? Yeah, it's a great system. It's got a lot of games, and it lasted so long that it has a lot of stuff. So it's good. I mean, I can't complain about the Neo Geo. He says, also, I found your channel thanks to your 10 RPG recommendations trilogy, and I want to know if you would make more. I actually had planned to make like a whole series of those for every system that I had enough RPGs for. So like some of them there was not enough RPGs where it was just like five. It became like a list of five. Fucking N64. and oh, like but I had a bunch of stuff in the works, and I have the list for all that stuff somewhere, like probably in my Google Drive somewhere. Like I have all the lists I made for all the systems still. Like I could go back and make those videos. It's just they took so long to make, and I had a template for it that I lost, and I felt like, man, it's too much work to like go back and make the whole template for it and then like capture footage for 10 RPGs is like not cool. It's not something like And I mean, I keep most of my save data, so like I still can jump around in the game a bit. But even then, like it's hard to go through 10 different RPGs and get, you know, helpful game stuff for stuff you're talking about without like playing the whole game again. And that sucks for a lot of stuff. Like I had a bunch of, when I was doing, I was gonna do systems and handhelds, and like the next video, and it was chronologically that I was doing it. So like by release date of the system, I was doing the videos, and I would plan to do um, the NES was the first one I did, and then I hear it in my mouth there. I think the NES was the first one I did, and then I did a maybe TurboGrafx, and then Sega Genesis. I assume I did it in that order, if only because that it makes sense chronologically. And then next I would have done Game Boy, possibly Game Boy or Super Nintendo. I'm pretty sure Game Boy was out before Super Nintendo. And I have a Game Boy list where and I think that list might have only been 5. And then I had a Game Gear list, and a Wonder Swan list, and basically like every major system. N64 even had one, but like it's almost entirely Japanese games, and it was really short. But like some of them have like some more interesting ones, but I don't remember the lists off the top of my head. They're written down somewhere, but I'm never gonna go back and make those videos because there's just no way I'm gonna be able to take the time out to do it. Yeah, I always feel like I hate sitting down. Oh shit, I hate sitting down and editing videos. And my my laptop is fucked. Like it's messed up. So the questions, I'm looking at them on my laptop, but my laptop, when it's idle, freezes. Like I can't like not use the laptop for more than like 5 minutes without it freezing, and I don't know what to do about that. If anyone has any ideas, let me know, because I would gladly do them. But if I'm using it, if it's actually doing something, it doesn't freeze. But if it's idle, it'll freeze. So I don't know what the deal with that is. But because of that, it's frozen and I can't continue with the question. So I'm restarting right now. So this is why I'm telling you this, because I'm just killing time in the video to wait for my computer to start back up. But I guess I can go more in depth about. I mean, if I had another phone, I do, but it's not charged. Like if I could just open it and look at the questions, that way it'd be easier. But I'm recording on my phone, so I have to use the laptop, which is, not exactly the ideal way for me to be doing this because it freezes so much. And, I can't complain because my previous laptop, that one I was using before, like the motherboard died, and a friend gave me this laptop, but they were like, yeah, it freezes all the time, and I can't use it. But I mean, I have a new computer, so you can just have it, but be warned that it's going to freeze all the time. It does freeze all the time, and I haven't found a way to fix it. I tried a bunch of stuff. I uninstalled a bunch of software, bunch of stuff that was like, looked like it wasn't going to be helpful, but it didn't change the situation at all. So I don't know what to do about that. But the computer has restarted. I'm just waiting for my page to open back up so I can get into the questions again. But I don't remember any questions off the top of my head. I tried to look at it before I restarted, but I didn't get to see a question because it wasn't scrolled down enough. But man, let me tell you that having your computer die and then like having to use like a loaner computer is like is the worst thing ever. Having a computer die, it all sucks, but like, well, I mean, obviously, but when you're in a situation where like you use a computer all the time, and now like I can't even leave it alone, so like now I'm like been using my phone for more stuff. it's not exactly ideal. Been thinking of like getting a cheap tablet or something just to like use for like idle stuff that I'm using my computer for, like watching YouTube videos while I'm doing other stuff. Like if I had a little tablet, I could do that. I'd get like one of those cheap Amazon tablets or something, like something that doesn't cost a lot that I'm just going to use for like watching videos. And well, I guess like I could get a Kindle and read books. Like I don't know if you guys have any recommendations for tablets that are cheap but also useful. That would be cool. All right, so back open. Let's hope it loads correctly. See, my internet is connected. Page is opening. But yeah, I know. Ideally, I would like an iPad because I have an iPhone, so like I could, use the apps and stuff between both. That would be helpful. But like, man, iPads are expensive. I don't know. I mean, if I was gonna buy an iPad, like I might as well just get another laptop. I mean, it seems better that way. So, okay, we're back. We're back. Recovery here. Okay, next. I'm even. Oh fuck. I'm even gonna scroll down a little bit farther so that I can see more questions, just in case it freezes again, because that is a possibility. Okay, so SNES Mapper, who Bruno is a good guy. Check out his channel. I know he has a channel. We're part of a kind of a Facebook chat together, and we've been part of a kind of a took part in a podcast type of thing together. It was good. I like Bruno. He's a good guy. Asking a good question. He's asking about Yakuza because he does not want the Q&A videos to die. Well, they might. I think I'm only one video away from death, unless more questions come. But he's asking, what are some of your favorite characters from the series? Favorite Yakuza characters? I've always liked, I think Akiyama is like my favorite character now. He's, personality-wise, I like him the most. Like, I think he's the most interesting to me as a personality, even though, like, he's not, like, the coolest character, Kiryu is obviously like meant to be the coolest character, and he comes off that way, so it works. But like, I just like Akiyama most because like his personality is more fun. Who else is really good? I think there's a lot of characters in the game that are interesting, but they're not like super important. Like a lot of people. I liked, if you've played Yakuza 3, the sidekick character Ricky or whatever I think his name is, who fuck, shouldn't spoil that. Who gets in the he's like he first starts by fighting you in the beginning. He's like the local thug, and then he becomes like your buddy. That guy is is a really cool character. I liked him. I don't know, it's hard to dislike, I mean, it's not hard to dislike characters in that game, but it's hard to, like, think of them as poorly written at all. I think they're all really well done, and, it's hard to dislike them as characters. Well, I mean, as characters, it's easy to dislike them. It's hard to dislike them overall, because their role they're playing works so well, so, like, even characters who are shitbags, like, you kind of accept them as good characters. So I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but my favorite personality though is Akiyama. Favorite character based on fighting style though is okay, you don't know this yet, but in Yakuza 0 there's like there's a breakdancing style that Goro uses, Mishima, I guess. He, it's so fun because it's goofy, and like it's like a great like crowd control That's the best one. I think that's the best fighting style. And it's not like even super powerful or anything. It's just so funny. It's funny to see like a Goro doing like um the like breakdancing. It's goofy. So I really like that one. And like favorite side quests, man. You know, when it comes down to it, my favorite side quests in those games to do are all the Amon family quests, like the where you have to fight the super strong guy after beating all the side quests. Those are the best, I think. Like there's lots of goof. The side quests are the goofy part of the game. Like obviously, if you never did any of the side quests in the Yakuza games, like you just skipped them and did the normal story, it would be like a pretty serious game. But when you play the side quests, there's so much goofiness. There are all types of weirdness that goes on in those. Where like there's monsters in the sewers and shit, and that not even in the off games, like in the main series. And then there'll be like you meet all these kind of weird characters, like the like the cameraman who helps you learn new things. Like all the things in that game are there's like all types of weird shit in that game that's like really confined to the side quests, whereas like normally if you're playing the main story it's quite serious, which is fun. It like gives a little bit of depth to everything, because like you can see like different sides of people in the city, different sides of the characters when they do the side quests, because like they're confronted with non-serious situations, and like how they react in those situations is always interesting. And I think it's like a pretty good way that the series works. Kind of connects you more to characters than it would otherwise. I think that's a good idea. So I think I've answered those questions. But next we've got Golden Joe Blow asks, are you Japanese? And if not, have you ever tried to get Japanese citizenship? I am not a Japanese citizen, though I've lived here long enough that I could apply for Japanese citizenship. It's not an impossibility. It's just a pain in the ass. Like it involves like I like basically I'd have to hire a lawyer to do paperwork, because like I'm a mess, man. I can't do paperwork and shit. I'd get all that shit wrong. Just be a mess. And I'm not willing to do that. I just like don't have the drive. Like, and like the worst thing about Japanese citizenship is that like there's no reason for me to do it. There's no benefit for me to do it besides like wouldn't have to get a visa anymore. But I like lived here long enough that I can get a permanent resident visa. And like that makes more sense, because like unlike getting citizenship in say like Canada or something, like I can't be a dual citizen with Japan. Japan doesn't allow you to be a dual citizen, so I'd have to like give up my American citizenship, which is probably not a good idea. I mean, I guess I could, but like what is the benefit? There's not really one, so I don't really have a reason to become a citizen. It's just that kind of situation where like I'm not. Next we've got BBR Hino 100 asking, what are your feelings on the Dragon Quest series and the Final Fantasy series? Well, that's a lot of okay, Dragon Quest. I haven't played a lot of Dragon Quest. I haven't played all the Dragon Quest games. I've played let's see, one, two, four maybe? No, five. One, two, five, and seven. And I don't know. I think they're all right, but I don't incredibly like them. Like I don't feel the need to play more Dragon Quest. They're all kind of similar to me. They all feel like better, like each version feels like a better version of the last, like the way it plays, but I feel like it's still the same kind of thing, like it hasn't evolved. And I know a lot of people like that, and it's not to say that it hasn't evolved at all, because it has. It's just that like it's so incremental to me that I feel like it's not doing anything special enough for me to like waste 150 hours or whatever playing it again. So I'm just not into Dragon Quest. But I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a pretty good game. It's just not boring. It's just kind of boring to me now. Final Fantasy is different because Final Fantasy series, like in theory, I guess if you were like take the series as a whole, I like Final Fantasy. Um, and I played all the Final Fantasies up until 12. So I played, 1 through 6 and 7, 8, 9, and 10. I didn't play 11, so I never played 11 online. But I played 12, and like towards the end there, I liked all the Final Fantasies up until about 10, where I felt like, 10 was like kind of mediocre for me, and then 12 I hated, so like I just stopped playing. Like I never played um, Final Fantasy, and that's weird to say. Like I know a lot of people really like 12, and I strangely I hated 12 on the PS2, but I liked 12 on the DS. Like Revenant Wings, that game, I really liked that game. I think most people don't like that game, but I enjoyed Revenant Wings a lot, but I didn't enjoy 12, and that's kind of weird. But past that point, I haven't really played any Final Fantasy past like Final Fantasy 12, unless um, I want to say that the last Final Fantasy game that I played was um, Final Fantasy Advance 2, like the DS one. That might be the last Final Fantasy game I played, and that's an alright game. But I would play any more tactical Final Fantasy games if they came out, and I'm planning on getting Final Fantasy 15 eventually. So like when that game comes out, I'm sure I'll get it because it looks alright, and I'm willing to give the series another chance. It's not that like I wasn't. It's just like I had played 12, and then when 13 came out, I was just like, man, after 12, I'm just not interested anymore. So I never picked up 13, and it wasn't because of like the negative hate for that game. Like, I didn't really care what that people hated it because there was a lot of people who really liked it too, and I'm more than willing to try something like that because like it's such a split decision there for most people that like I'm willing to overlook that and just play it and see what I think about it for myself. But you know, I just wasn't interested, so I've never played Final Fantasy 13. It might be all right, but I'm just not interested at all. And 14 I never played, and 15 I'll probably try again. It'll be like my last shot for Final Fantasy. If like 15 comes out and I play it and I think this is garbage, I'm probably not going to play the series anymore. But unless more tactical games come out. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. Next we've got Big Drew Dog is back. Um, let's see. Where did the questions start? Um, let's see. Whew, okay. Do you have a chance to check out Salt and Sanctuary? Um, I never played Salt and Sanctuary, and I'm not really interested in it. I don't know why, because like I know a lot of people who really like the Souls games, like me, were really interested in that game and played it and said good things about it. But it just wasn't what I was thinking of playing. Like I wasn't into it in the way that like it's not the type of game like the 2D kind of platforming boss fighting thing is not really my thing. I'm just not into it. So like it works in 3D for me, but in 2D I just think like I've got retro games for that. I don't need to play another game like that. So I don't know. I just felt like maybe it's all right. It's probably a good game actually, but I just wasn't interested to the point where I was just like, who cares? I'm not playing that. Um, let's see. So let's see. What are your opinions on big screen TVs and surround sound? You know, I'd like to have a. I mean, I have a not a big screen TV. It's not a huge TV. It's like 32 inches or something. The TV that's behind me. Um, but it's I guess having a big TV with surround sound would be cool. That would be awesome. But like again, I mean, I don't have the space for that. I couldn't even fit a much bigger TV into my um, thing there, the shelf back there. Like it's just not going to happen. I could probably fit like a 40-inch TV maybe at most. Um, it's just not going to happen. So I feel like, my apartment is small, and like my shelf is small for the TV. Like TV stand, the thing back there is just not big enough. So, you know, I don't really care. Like I don't feel like I need a bigger TV either. It's not like my couch is really far away from the TV. It's not that far, so it doesn't feel like my TV is small. And surround sound would be cool though. I'll admit that if I had a surround sound, it would probably be better. I should probably get look into getting that. But I don't know where I put speakers. That's the issue. Like I can't like drill into the wall. I have to pay for shit afterwards when I moved out. Um, it's just kind of a mess. I don't know what to do about that. So like I'd like to have it, but I don't have any options there. Um, so yeah, but generally I'm not interested. I'm not like incredibly interested in that kind of stuff. But like I don't particularly. I'm not like a huge sound guy, which seems weird because like I was in a bunch of bands and I play instruments, and I just I just don't find myself caring about the how well my games sound, or like I don't know. I mean, obviously there's a level where I care, where if the music is awful or the sound effects don't fit or whatever, then I care. But like general, like just the shitty speakers on my TV seem to be fine. Next, we've got Dungeon RPG is asking, have you looked much into 3DS eShop download titles? Um, he's asking specifically about Combini Dreams by Arc System Works. That's um, now I don't play a lot of 3DS eShop titles, but I have a couple. Like I don't dislike them, and it's just rare that I look into them. So like I'm more likely to get Vita download titles than I am to get 3DS download titles, which is weird. Like I have a bunch of credit on my 3DS for the eShop, like like $50 or something, because I had like a bunch. When they closed the Nintendo points, like they stopped using Nintendo points, and they had like deals at the end where you could like trade in your Nintendo points. I had so many Nintendo points that I was able to get like $60 worth of credit on the eShop with my points. And so like I did that, and then I like haven't really found a use for it. So like I've been slowly buying 3DS eShop titles when stuff comes out that's interesting, but like I just haven't played a ton. I wonder if my 3DS has a charge, which I doubt. No, it doesn't. Yeah, battery's dead. If the battery weren't dead, I would talk more about my 3DS titles that I have. But like I've got a bunch that. Well, maybe I can plug it in. Maybe it'll be okay. The plug's not around. Okay, it's gonna die, but I can probably look at it. Just to go over what I have. So I've got like these cheating boyfriend game, the Uwaki Kareshi games, which are like the kind of like um, one of my Phoenix Wright games, where like, but instead of like solving a case, you're solving like the cheating boyfriend, like you're finding evidence to prove that the boyfriend is cheating. Then I have like Neketsumo Neketsumaho Monogatari, which is like a kind of battery died. It's like Arc Systems made those River City Ransom games, but this one is like a River City Ransom game, but like a kind of Wizards and Warriors kind of fantasy RPG elements, but like played um like River City Ransom. I just said it too, and I couldn't remember. Had this not died, I would be able to talk about more. But I honestly don't remember. I recently made a video about Drancia Saga, which was like one of the games. And I have like a couple of actual games that I've downloaded. Like, I have like Lost Heroes on the 3DS here. There was like a special version that you could only get through the eShop. And I have like some older games. Like, I've got like games from the Famicom and stuff that I've downloaded through the eShop instead of like the carts. So that kind of stuff is okay. Like, but if you have any eShop suggestions, I don't have Convenient Dreams, but like I have so many convenience store simulation games that like I that one I knew about, but I never bought it because it's like $8, and I thought like, man, I already have a bunch, and I have like some on the PSP and stuff like that where I'm just like, I can still play those. Let's see. He's asking, what do you think of Kororoke no Mori, which I haven't played it, so I don't know. And he's saying, speaking of FMV games, do games like F2 428 Fusa Sarete Shibuya? So wait, is it Sareta? I don't know. Fusa Sareta. Fucking hell. you should write these in Japanese for me. Like it seems weird, but like I have a real hard time reading in Romaji. Fusa Sareta Shibuya. Yeah. I mean, I would have been able to read that if it were not. I would have been able to read that better if were it not in Romaji. I guess whatever. I don't know if those. I haven't played those, but they're all live action, aren't they? I mean, I guess they would count as FMV games. There's video, right? Like they count for me, I guess. I've seen those games and they're really cheap. Like you can get them on the Wii and stuff for like a pittance. And I feel like I've seen those around actually. I thought like I've seen trailers for them where I thought these look interesting, but like I don't know when I'm gonna get around to it, so I haven't bought them. But like maybe I'll actually buy those. I like the idea of more FMV games anyway. So yeah, next we've got Devoid Dude is back asking, do you like the Metal Gear Solid games? I've only played Metal Gear Solid, the first one, so Metal Gear Solid, and I played a bit of Metal Gear Solid 2, but not enough to like give a solid opinion on it. In theory, I guess I like Metal Gear Solid, but like I have Metal Gear 4, but I've never played it, and I don't know. I just feel like I like Metal Gear, but like I have to be in a, I don't know, kind of a mindset where I want to play a stealth game, which is like almost never, just never happens. So, having like the drive to go back and play more Metal Gear is just like not there. And I know like I don't know what it is either, because like I really liked Metal Gear, the first Metal Gear. Like I bought it on the day it came out, and I played it like a bunch of times. I played through it like 4 or 5 times, and I thought it was awesome. And then like Metal Gear 2 came out, and I was just like, I don't care. So it's like that happens to me sometimes with games where like I get a game in a series that I play it a ton and I love it. And then the sequel comes out and I'm just like, I don't care. I'm not gonna play it. Or I'll like buy it and never play it. That happens. Not never. I want to say I don't want to say never, because like some game, like I played Morrowind and I really like Morrowind, and I bought Oblivion, and I bought Oblivion, and I played Oblivion like 4 years after I bought it. So, and like I have Skyrim. I got Skyrim, and I still haven't played it. I got Skyrim like I don't know how many years ago, but it's been a long time, and I haven't even touched it. I haven't like even popped it into my system yet. Eventually I'll play it though. And that's like a lot of stuff. Like I have the Batman Arkham City. Like I loved Arkham Asylum. I played the hell out of that game. And then like Arkham City came out and I was like all hyped, and then I got it, but I've never played it. It's just sitting on my shelf. Like I'm just waiting for the point in time where I want to play Arkham City for some reason. And like I bought it on the Wii U because like I needed some reason to use my Wii U. But I haven't played it yet. So like that just happens. Metal Gear just happens to be one of those series where it's like now it's just too built up where I'm like never gonna go back to it. And I have Metal Gear 2 like sitting on my shelf, but I'm probably never gonna get to it. Okay, so next gaming retrospective asks me what do I think about Sharp FE. I have a whole video on that. I did a whole video. So like I don't know. I'm not gonna go really into depth because I made a whole video already about this game, but it's good. I enjoyed that game more than I thought I was going to, and I think like it's not what everybody wanted. It's not the game everybody wanted. Everybody what the game everybody wanted was essentially Majin Tensei, but you know they do. I think they do a really good job of making references to each series and doing it well. And the way the game plays is like good stuff. Like it's really good to me because it plays a lot like Digital Devil Saga does, and I really enjoyed that. I just think like it felt like a good game to me. So like the playing it was fun, and like the aesthetic was fun, and they didn't make you do things like that were out of bounds for an RPG. Like they didn't make you do like dance training and shit. And you do it in the game, but like you don't have to play it. It's just kind of like a scene that occurs. So it does a really good job. And he's asking like, would you be interested in a follow up to something like it? I don't know that the game needs a sequel, but I think like I'd be interested in more games like that. But that being said, I'd more want if they're gonna do that, I'd prefer more games like Digital Devil Saga than Sharp FE. And I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because they kind of play the same, but I prefer the themes of DDS to the themes of Sharp FE. And that's like not to say Sharp FE had bad themes. It's a good game. It has good stories, and I enjoyed it. But it's not like my preferred kind of stories, I guess. Like it wasn't bad though. I enjoyed it. So I don't know. I would be happy. So he's asking, would you like perhaps something more similar to a classic SMT game or a game that plays like Fire Emblem featuring classic SMT style characters? Um, I don't know what you would do with a classic SMT game, like a first person dungeon crawler with Fire Emblem. I don't know how you would do that. I mean, it would just play like a first person dungeon crawler. It wouldn't be that great actually. I think that would be weird. But a game like Fire Emblem featuring SMT style characters is Majin Tensei. That's the game. That's how it is. I mean, it looks like Fire Emblem, plays like Fire Emblem. Um, I mean, I'd like that. I'd like another one of those games, but I doubt they're gonna make one. I don't know why they wouldn't. Well, actually, I do know why they wouldn't because they made Devil Survivor, and that's kind of the strategy game they have now. They don't really need to bring back Majin Tensei. They can just make another Devil Survivor. So I don't know, like a Devil Survivor Fire Emblem crossover would probably work. I don't know what they do with it, but I kind of understand why they went the way they did with that game. If only because like you're kind of you might as well just let Nintendo make it if it's gonna be another Fire Emblem type game. If it's gonna be Majin Tensei, like, well, I mean, they might as well just make another Devil Survivor or another Majin Tensei. It makes sense, I guess. Like I mean, I appreciate that they tried something new. I think that most people didn't appreciate that they tried something new, but it's kind of how it worked out. But that was a good game. And if you want to hear me talk about like my actual opinions on it, there's like probably a half-hour video of me talking only about that game somewhere on my channel. Let's see. Oricon is asking me, did you read the original Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei books? No. Well, that's not true. I read the first one, but it's not not entirely. So like I didn't read the whole thing. Like I stopped reading it halfway through. Um, and that wasn't because it was bad. It was just because like I got busy and I forgot about it. But the I just like I guess I could go. I feel like I want to get those books, but man, they're hard to find. They're kind of collector's items at this point because people like the game, so they buy the book, and then like it always happens. People from overseas buy those books and they're like, man, they're they just collect them even though they can't read it, and it just drives the prices up more. So that's kind of how it is. Yeah, I guess I mean it's probably worth it, but you could probably more worth it to just like download a PDF. Um, maybe there's it. Maybe there's a digital version. You could get a Kindle version. I'll look for that. If there's Kindle versions of those books, I'll buy them and read them. How about that? That's a deal. And he also asks, is it just my imagination or is the air getting worse in Tokyo? Seems like there's more people are wearing masks. Do you think the problem is coming from China? Um, I think like it's not like an entirely the reason, but it's probably, air pollution from China is actually an issue. It happens. And, like sometimes there was like that weird period where like the sky was all yellow because of, dust storms in China. That shit happens in Japan. So like the, terrible pollution from China does leak over to Japan. And I could see that being an issue because like, you know, China doesn't appear to be too strict on that kind of stuff. But hopefully, I mean, hopefully it'll get better. I guess China is like trying to work at a lot more renewable energy instead of coal, which is their main thing. But you know, I'm I'm more apt to blame China for the dirty air than. All right, I'm sort of back. I guess there's going to be a weird cut in there because the my phone filled up with data. I forgot to delete the last video, so um, it stopped. It just suddenly stopped when the data was full. But like, I don't know. I guess I'll just add 15 minutes into this video and like splice them together via the YouTube editor, which will be like no transition. There'll just be like a weird jump in the sentence. You'll get it. You'll know exactly what it is. You didn't miss anything. I was basically done with that question. So next we've got RPG Fantast is asking, what do you think of Babymetal? It would be fun to hear your thoughts since you live in Tokyo and probably see a lot about them. I don't see a lot about them, but I don't mind Babymetal. I mean, I haven't bought one of their CDs or anything, but like I've heard some of their songs and I think like, okay, I get it. I understand why people would like this. And like I have a couple of their songs on my iPhone where like it's just fun. I think it's fun. That's like it's hard to understand. I mean, I guess like if it's not your type of music, it's not your type of music, but like listening to it, I think like it seems fun to me. It's like you've got this like kind of heavy like overproduced metal music with like goofy songs about chocolate and shit, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on here? And I think like that is a lot of the kind of appeal of it to me. I think it turns out to be like this kind of strange combination that works. You know how like if you've never had a pizza with peanut butter and bacon, you'd think like that doesn't work. That's not going to work. It's going to be awful, and you'd think that. But if you actually have it, it's really good, and it turns out to be something that like you wouldn't expect that ends up working. And Babymetal is like one of those things. It's like a peanut butter and bacon pizza where just like you imagine it's going to be bad, but it ends up working out in a way that's like pleasant. So I'm not gonna like, I'm not like a huge fan. Like, I'm not gonna go see them, and I'm not gonna like run out and buy their CDs. But if Babymetal is on, I'm not gonna be like, this is garbage, turn it off. I'm just gonna be like, oh, well, that's kind of fucking weird. That's cool. I'll watch it. So yeah, that's about it. Babymetal, not so bad. Hooded Gamer asks, wow, he asks a lot of stuff. 4 questions here. Okay, so question 1. I want to start a new RPG after completing Strange Journey on the DS. Which one do you personally recommend out of these games? SMT Nocturne on the PS2, SMT Digital Devil Saga on PS2, or The Dark Spire? Okay. All of those are good games. You should play all of those games. I wouldn't recommend Dark Spire right now. Just because, like, you're playing like a first-person dungeon crawler in Strange Journey, like to put you into another one that's not as I would say not as good. would be a mistake. You probably would come off thinking it wasn't as good a game as it actually is. So I wouldn't go from Strange Journey to the Darkspire, but I might go from Strange Journey to um I would say Digital Devil Saga because like that's probably my favorite game out of the SMT related games on the PS2. But man, I don't know. It's it's a really good game. You should play that, but if you haven't played Nocturne, you should probably play that first. Um, and like I say that because when you play Nocturne, you'll go into it and you'll if you're like me, you'll go into it and you'll think like this game is good. The story is good, the characters are good, and it's like it's interesting. It's not it's not exactly I know a lot of people claim that's really hard, but I think like I don't think I ever lost to a boss in that game. Like I never had a point where I was just like I can't beat this boss. It's like every time first try beat every boss. And I think like Nocturne was like turned out to be pretty easy for me. And I don't know what it was. It could have just be that like I'm like an obsessive weirdo with the fusing. So like once you find good skills, like I'll just I'm willing to sit down for an hour and to make one demon. Like that's just how I play those games because that's part of the fun for me. So like Nocturne ended up being really easy, but when I got to Digital Devil Saga, there was lots of times where like you had to just like back out. You had to like you know take a full party kill and come back because like you just weren't spec'd to beat a boss. Like, and that's not to say you weren't leveled enough. It just means like you didn't have the skills that were necessary to like damage the boss. And that has happened. That's happened in that game. And I thought like that's better. It's better designed to me because like it means that I have to actually think about what I'm doing, as opposed to like just thinking about making really strong demons that can do everything. You didn't. I mean, Digital Devil Saga has its issues too. I mean, towards the end of the game, it's broken as fuck. Like, there's skills that are. I mean, okay, if you do the side quests, like you do like the hidden bosses and stuff, you can get skills that make you so strong that like nothing. You can beat like the end boss in one turn. I mean, it's broken. It's just broken. It's just wrong. So like, and you go through that game, and you find the kind of skill. I mean, there's a skill that gives you basically like a double attacks. When it gives you like a double row, so like you get like possibly you can get up to like 16 attacks in a turn or something. Once you do that, you're just well, you're never gonna lose. Um, and that's the kind of thing where like you know it's not for every. I mean, it's rare that you're gonna get that. I think like if you're just playing it your first time, you probably won't find that stuff. But if you do, you're gonna just destroy that game. But I'd probably both of those games are good, but I'd say start with Nocturne and see how you like it. If you think like it's too easy, or you think like you could play it with some more challenge, then like play Digital Devil Saga. Let's see. Question 2. Do you remember how long it took you to complete Strange Journey for the first time? I don't remember, but it was probably a long time. Like I said, like I sit down with those and like fuse demons for hours. Like just sit down and like fuse demons and then like go grind gold to get more demons and get better ones. Like I'm just like really obsessive about getting demons with the perfect skills. So I don't really remember, but it was probably 80 hours, I'd guess, maybe more. Um, I mean, obviously, could have beaten it faster, but why bother? That's the thing. So, oh, here's a question. Next question: when fusing demons in the SMT games, do you experiment a lot, or do you follow a certain strategy? Um, a little of column A and a little of column B. So, like, usually I try to fuse as many demons as I can, and then just keep resummoning things to swap skills around. So here, like one of my main complaints with SMT games as of late is that they don't come with a manual, And the manual, you think like, well, nobody reads those manuals anymore. Why do you need that? Well, there's usually in the previous games there's a chart. It's like this big, it's like a single page. Like I wish they had just put the chart in the thing. I don't even need a manual. Just give me that damn chart, because like the chart gives you like which types of demons can fuse together to create other types of demons. And I'm sure it's in the digital manual, but like you can't view the digital manual while playing the game. So like you have to keep flipping back and forth out of the game, and it takes too much time, and it's not like convenient. But previously, like you had the chart, like you could look at it and be like, okay, if I fuse this type of demon with this type of demon, I'll get this type. And like when you have that, you can go through and figure out, okay, I need to fuse this and this to get this with this certain skill. And then like I have to use this, the thing that I fused, with another thing to get that skill onto this other type of thing. Or then I have to like reset it down like with a Mitama or something to get the the skill down onto a lower level character. So like eventually you can get like the highest level skills onto the lowest level characters just by like swapping between demons and leveling them down through the fusions. And that kind of thing is cool because like it allows you to do like crazy challenge runs where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go through the entire game and beat the hardest boss with Jack Frost. You can do it. That's what's cool about SMT. So generally, you know, for the most part, like there's certain skills in the games that have always been like legendarily good. Pierce is always one. Like if you're playing an SMT game, you always want characters to have Pierce because like it's like one of the most important skills. Like if you played any of the games, you'll realize it at some point. I'm sure you realized it in Strange Journey when you played that. But if you have Pierce in Nocturne, like there's like certain any of those skills that give like negative status effects, multiple negative status effects. So like if you're a thing that'll give you like an enemy will have minus protection and strength, something like that, like War Cry and stuff, things like that. Um, I th- Fog Breath maybe is another one that's like that. Um, I can't remember. There's like other ones that are like more strong, but they have like the names slightly change between the games sometimes. Um, Messiahlizer maybe is the one where it like gives a minus status to all of the things. So it'll like minus speed, minus protection, minus strength. That those kind of skills, you need those. Like you should always get those in these games. So like um and that works for Persona too. Like if you have those skills and you use them against bosses, like you raise your own skills and then lower the boss skills, like you're gonna whoop up on bosses. Like that's just how these games work. Like use the status effects. So generally, like when I'm making a party with demons, like I'm fusing demons that have certain skills. So everyone has a role. Someone will be a healer. Someone will have like be putting out status effects. Usually my main character will be a full-on magic user. It doesn't work for some games where you can't use magic. Then you're just like you're just kind of a fighter, I guess. Um, but generally, if you have the idea of like what you want to do, you just create demons around the idea of like a general strategy. With experimentation. So obviously all the games don't have the same skills, but when you play, when you find the skills that are good, you keep those, and then you kind of experiment with new stuff to see how it's going to work out. And the last question, which will probably be the last question of this video, because I'm probably over an hour already. But question 4 here is, what is your favorite bullet hell shmup, or your favorite shmup in general, if you have any? Didn't I answer? I might have answered this in the last video. But R-Type is my favorite shooter. Favorite bullet hell though, I don't know. Like I don't play a lot of bullet hell shooters. I'm just not super into them. It's not like I dislike them either. I just haven't been super into them. I guess I'll go with something like let me think about it. trying to think of what I played recently that I liked. Ketsui maybe is a good one, but it's probably not my favorite. Um, I really like the Dodonpachi games. Those are fun. But man, I don't know. Favorite though? I don't know. I have no idea. I like those games. I like the cave games that I've played at least. But I'd have a hard time picking a favorite. But for shooters, I would just pick R-Type. R-Type anything is good for me. So yeah, that'll be the end. I'm going to splice these two videos together and hopefully it'll work out all right. I've done it before. It's worked. Doesn't have means I don't have to do any editing. That's all. I don't have to re-render the videos because my computer always freezes. So yeah, I'll upload these and see what happens. So I guess if you have more questions, answer them next time. Or the next video will actually be the last one. I think. Possibly. But yeah, okay. I will see you guys in the next Q&A video. So see you then.